And welcome back to the Arizona Bill Watch 2020. Couple of reminders. The uh, In order to get more information about the bills that we are covering, uh, you can look at my calls to action that I generally, in fact, regularly, every week I post on Facebook. And to get to access that, you go to AZRRT. All you have to do is execute a search for AZRRT, and then you'll be able to access my calls to action that cover more of what we're going to be covering here. This show is not long enough to cover all of it, so we just cover a portion. And for those folks that want to have more information about what goes on in the legislature, want to get more involved, more educated, there's a variety of articles that I have posted on my website, which is azpeopleslobbyist.com. And for those folks that would like to fact check what we say here, you can go to the state legislature's website, and that would be azleg.gov. So, with that, we have been talking about the bills that are going to be in committee next week and giving you a recommendation. Obviously, you do not have to follow our recommendation, but we wish you would. The first, the next bill that I would like to bring people's attention to is HB 2285. This bill, in a sense, does not affect a whole lot of people, just motorcycle riders, but in a sense, it does affect all motorists. What it does very simply is that it allows what it is a common practice now. They do it all the time, but it allows motorcycles to do what they call lane splitting. In other words, they can go between cars when cars are stopped. And this becomes very important for motorcycle riders because when you're in traffic and the traffic has stopped, it's not uncommon for somebody to be distracted and have a collision with a motorcycle from the rear, because obviously the motorcycle is much smaller than the car, so if they're not paying attention, they don't see the motorcycle, and that's a problem. And the other thing is that what's the advantage of having a two-wheel vehicle? If you cannot get to work faster, if you cannot get to work more efficiently, and by being able to go between park or not parked, they might as well be parked because the traffic jam becomes almost a parking lot. So that's what that bill does, and I don't know of any downside to the bill. Maybe Archie does, but we are recommending a yes. If you're going to if you're going to contact legislators, we're recommending that you favor this bill.
No, I don't have anything in opposition to the bill. I think it's a good bill. I think it serves a purpose. One of the problems, as you indicated earlier, is that motorcyclists have a tendency to be rear-ended when traffic is stopped, because it's only logical when you're pulling up behind the stopped traffic that you're going to focus on the car. You're not going to focus on the motorcycle, and that's what creates the problem.
Folks, this could be a first. He agrees with me.
No, I agreed with you earlier.
Okay, another bill. Now this is important. This affects everyone. It has to do with elections. The bill number is HB 2619, and it has to do with the election marshal. Now this election marshal is not like any other marshal. It's just the name for an individual who's supposed to be in charge. What the marshal is supposed to do, marshal is supposed to make sure that the election laws are followed at the polling places. Okay? That has been the case all along. But guess what? The marshal does not get any training on election law. So how can a marshal enforce the law if he doesn't know what the law is?
Correct.
So this bill actually could be considered a housekeeping bill, but what it does is that it mandates that there's two or three other people that have to get the training on the election law. This will add the marshal to those three, make it four people instead of three. It's that simple. So it was introduced by Representative Fillmore of, I believe he's in District 16, and we are recommending a yes vote on that. So, do you have anything to add to that, Archie?
No, I mean, I think it's a common sense bill that if you're going to be in charge of running elections and making sure that election laws are followed, that you probably need to have some training by somebody that has a background in it so that you know what it is, the rules and regulations that you're supposed to follow. And of course, that training is, as I understand it, is to be done by whoever's in charge of the elections in the particular county. In this case, it's the county recorder's office. But the bill goes on further and provides that after you've had that training, you can also get training from the Arizona Attorney General's office, which takes you a step further as a premium board worker. And it would probably be a good idea if whoever's going to be an election marshal, if they actually took that second training session.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And for those people who are questioning, because one of the questions, some of us have been involved in actually in the creation of this bill. It's so important. One of the objections that has had come up in the past is, well, how do we pay for this? We're mandating that the marshal get training, but what about the cost? And the answer is very simple. There is no cost because the class is being held anyway for 3 individuals. And I don't mean 3 individuals total. I mean 3 types of individuals. And I forget what the names are for them. Anyway, this only adds one other person to the training, so there's no fiscal or monetary impact on doing this.
I'd like to point out that historically, I think that the state of Arizona has had a shortage of people to work at the polling places. So if it's something that might be of interest to you, I would suggest that you contact either the Attorney General's office or the County Recorder's office to see about getting yourself into that training. I do also know that Linda Brickman is running a program for some of the people in Maricopa County. Can't give you her contact information, but if you happen to know her, then you might contact her about getting signed up to take the training.
Yeah, one thing I need to mention is we're not talking here about observers per se, because that's a different story altogether. These poll workers, they actually get paid. Okay, this is a paying position, and what happens is that for every election, you need to have people working these polls. Now, with the advent or the proliferation of mail-in ballots, there has been fewer and fewer polling places open, but you still need personnel, and we still have a shortage of personnel. So if you want to make a little money and you like working with people, and you would like to work at the election as a paid individual, yes, take Archie's advice and contact the actually, it would be the recorder's office that would do this, not the Attorney General. So contact them and find out about how to become a paid poll worker. So with that, we move on to the next bill on our list, which is HB 2269, and the short title for that one is Donated Medicine Requirements. Now, this bill has been introduced by Representative Bartow of LD 15, and she happens to be my representative, so full disclosure here, right? Okay. She happens to be one of the good guys in the legislature. So anyway, the problem here that we're trying to address is that there are times when an individual has near the end of life situation where he or she would obtain a whole bunch of very expensive medicine, and then it turns out that the person dies, and some of that medicine was still in good shape. It has not been opened, or it's otherwise very usable. And on the other hand, we have people that need that medicine and cannot afford it. So what this does is very simply creates, I think it creates some kind of clearinghouse. I don't know exactly how it's handled, but it provides for a way for these medications, these drugs, to be donated to individuals that need them and needy and cannot afford them. So we are recommending that you vote or you tell your legislature to vote yes on bill HB 2269.
To follow up on your comments on that, it's my understanding that you can make the donations of that medication to a pharmacy or to a doctor. And
Okay.
they have to then verify that the seals on the medication has not been broken, which helps to verify that it's, that it's has not been tampered with. And also they can check the medication station and determine that the medication has not expired. So,
And with that, on that note, we're coming to the end of our show for this week. This is the Arizona Bill Watch show for the year 2020. And a quick reminder, if you want to find out more about bills, what's happening at the legislature, etc., you can go to Facebook and search for AZRRT and read my comments on that. And for more information about the legislature in general, go to azpeopleslobbyist.com. azpeopleslobbyist.com. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening.